Hey coaches, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys are all watching these YouTube videos. It just helps me go a little more in depth into the weekly plan, and not only that, just talk about things that are going on. As part of our part-time staff, which a lot of you guys are, we want to keep you in the loop. And some of you, like Tyler, Coach Sarah, both Sarahs, like by the time you guys get here, I'm already moving and grooving in my groups. So I just don't get the time to sit and talk with you guys like I do with some of the other coaches. But at the end of the day, the standard and expectation and the excellence we want to bring, we just want to keep that constant, right? And I totally trust you guys. I don't sit around and think like, I haven't seen Tyler in a while. Like, I wonder what his group is doing. You know, I observe a little bit. I see a few things, and
thanks for your help in the locker room. I feel better.
hey, no problem. Have a good one. The locker room was really trash, and I help a member clean it up, which is really my job. But anyways, so all that to be said is thank you guys so much for everything you do. I know I say that every week, but I truly mean it. I truly mean it. So a couple things I want to talk about before we get into weekly plans. I want you to think about, how do you handle that one kid in your group? I was helping Julie out with her group, and you know, everything was like, her group's moving really well, but she's got one kid that, you know, likes to give a little sass back, or doesn't really try as hard as the others. You can tell he's holding back. And I have one of those kids in my groups. I have this kid named Davis Gooch. If any of you guys coached him last season, you probably know. And a lot of groups have that. In my junior 2 group, I have one of those also. And my advice to you is, you got 2 options. You either are going to find a way to make it work for that kid, or you're not. If you try what you've been trying, it's probably not going to work, because up until now it hasn't worked, right? So we got to get creative. So with my kid, that kid Davis that I talk about, you know, something I do with him is I try to make swim practice fun for him in every way other than the swimming part, because he's just not having fun with the swimming. And that's not totally true, because when he has a good practice, he does have a lot of fun. But he doesn't want to be there every day. You can just tell. But something I do is, like, I give him little nicknames. Like, one day he was not paying attention, and he just kept standing on his board and squeaking his feet, and now I call him Squeaky. And I know that sounds silly, but when somebody gives you a nickname, you feel a little more included, like, oh, my coach gave me a nickname, even if they think it's silly. Another thing, I make individual bets with him, like, hey man, I bet you can't do this. And it might not even have anything to do with what we're doing. Like, my goal for Davis is, yes, I want to make him a better swimmer, and he is getting better, maybe not as fast as everybody else, but he's getting better, is I just want him to enjoy his time there. Because if he's miserable, he makes the people around him miserable, which makes your group miserable. Now, that being said, if he's being disrespectful, if he's really getting in the way of other swimmers, then it's a real problem, and I've sat him out from practices. I've called his mom. I've sat and talked with his mom before. So you got to be able to play both ends. You got to be able to play the, okay, we're going to try to make it work for this kid. Okay, I don't really have the patience for you today. You either get your stuff squared away, or, I mean, you might be swimming less today. And there's the balance with everything. There's no one way to do this. Hey, look. There's no one way to get a problem kid squared away. You know, kicking them out of practice doesn't really work at the developmental level. When they practice twice a week, unless they are like hurting another kid, or they're in there cussing and stuff like that, then yes, that kid has to go, right? But you know, kids shouldn't be kicked out of practice. Now, 2-minute timeout, 3-minute timeout, those can be pretty effective. But all that being said, I want you to think about that one kid you have on your team who, you know, if you got them squared away, it can make a big difference for him and your team. Also, all that being said, what does the organization of your group look like? With my Dev 1 group, I write their names on a whiteboard and the order they're going to go in a lane. Because when they show up, I want them to know where they're going to go. And that keeps my practice running smoothly. When I run smoother in the beginning, I can get more done on the back half. And it's going great. It's going really great so far, as long as I remember to write the names, right? Another thing I want you to think about is bad attendance. I want you to go through your rosters, and if you have anybody you just have not seen in a week or two, I would like you to give them a call. I know phone calls they're time consuming, they're not the easiest thing to do, but they make such a big impact. This is the tough part of the season because everything's starting to, everybody's in a groove. It's November, we got Christmas a month away, winter break, they got finals, there's so much going on. How do we keep swimming in the minds of our swimmers? Some of our kids, they're sold out, they're there. Like, we don't have to do a whole lot, and they're gonna love every day of practice. Like, kids like Mabel Westcott or Magnolia Rordans. Like, I have a few on my team. I'm sure you have those kids on your team too that are in it to win it no matter what happens, right? But then we have some kids on the fence. And if they're on the fence, hey, maybe their parents on the fence. And as school gets closer to a break, everybody starts getting into break mode. And man, that phone call can save them from dropping. Our biggest drops come in the months of December and January. And if we can keep swim team on the front of mind of them, then we kept that swimmer for a little longer, which provided another opportunity for us to teach them how to love the sport. And it goes back to great communication, teach them how to love the sport. Great communication, teach them how to love the sport. It goes hand in hand. There's nothing different. You can't have one without the other. So all that being said, I would like you to look at your kids on your roster, one who maybe missed once a week or you haven't seen them in a week, and I want you to give them a call. But before you do that, and this is the most time-consuming action that I'm going to ask you to do, is I want you to go through your roster, name by name, and I just want you to think about that kid for like 10 to 30 seconds. Like, just look at that name and say, have I seen them? How are they doing? Good, bad? Do they need anything more from me? I just want you to put a little more thought. Just like everybody else is just getting in the groove of things, so are we, right? I know Sam, you go all day. You go to school all morning, you go to HEB, you come here to practice at night, and then you work out. Like, dude, your schedule is packed. And like, that's tough. And I really, really respect the work you're putting in, bud, because when I was 19, I was putting in that same amount of work, start to finish throughout the day. We all have stuff going on. Everybody's situation is different, but similar. We're all busy. We all, as coaches who want to achieve things, we are people who want to do things. Okay. Ever since that one video that didn't record right, I always get paranoid and I just have to check in the middle of the video. Because, huh? Yeah, it's recording. You can sit right there. I mean, just as long as you're quiet, Luke. So that being said, I want you to go through your roster, think about each kid, 10 to 20, 30 seconds. You can do it in the morning, you can do it on the weekend, but just think about what your kids need. That's what we want to do. We want to see what the kids need, and we want to try to deliver that as best as possible. Of course, some things are, man, I don't know what to do there. And that's where I come into play. Ask me for help. If you need help making phone calls, give me a list, right? I have more time. My job is to support you guys, to make sure we are the base of the team, to make sure the base of the team stays strong. Because without excellent coaches at our base and good things happening, nothing happens later on. Okay, and then I think I've said lastly 3 times. Lastly, we have our mini pre this weekend. I will tell you, Dev 1's going to run pretty similar to everything. Same events as the last mini pre. I think those went well. We are adding a relay. So practice relays at practice. I'm actually going to get relays out earlier. I'm going to get relays out earlier, and I'm going to try to group kids by their practice group. And the reason why is it's so hard to find kids in different groups. But so you are going to be in charge of your relays for your groups there, right? Now, like Julia, you have 2 different groups, so we'll probably get you an assistant, get you squared away there. And that's what we're going to try to do. And I really want to see how our relays do, like organization-wise. Did you put in the prep time to get your relay together? If your relay's not ready on time, like, we're going to start the meet without that relay. So be ready for that, coaches. Same for Dev 2. So you're going to have to show up with a list of names, your kids. You'll have the relays. You'll have to make sure, oh, shoot, this kid's not here. Hey, we're going to replace this kid. Hey, you get to that side, you get to that side. They'll have heat, lane, everything. but it's going to be your kids, your relays. And the same thing, this happens later. If you're coaching a Dolphin 1, Dolphin 2, your swimmers are usually going to be on relays with their teams. It gets a little different at the older kids, but as they get older, they figure it out a lot better. A 7-year-old trying to find another 7-year-old that they've never met before is chaotic and not very fun. Okay, weekly plans. Warm-ups are the same in the water. The big thing is on teaching, we're teaching 6 kick switch backstroke for Dev 1, working on that rotation and full extension, and backstroke races, and this goes into the magic number. This will give you a good opportunity to hand out stickers for continuous kick, magic number, or whatever else is under the backstroke category. Hand out those stickers if they earned it. And then Wednesday, Thursday, you're going to do meet prep. It's up to you. Dive starts, turns, a stroke you want to work on, 50s, but relays that day. Finish practice with relays. You could even use the relays I give you and get them squared away at practice. Dev 2, if you have questions on drylands, me working with Coach Sarah's group and Coach Julia's group, there's just questions about drylands and stuff like that. I know sometimes I just put words here and I have an idea in my head, but if you need me to demo this, like, just let me know. I can, like, Coach Sarah has done this before, like, hey, she's texted me in the middle of the day, hey, how do I do this exercise? And I've done the exercise, sent her a video of me doing the exercise, and it helped her out. So I can do the same thing for you guys. But again, you got to look at this ahead of time, think about it. I'll help you out. On the kicking with rotation for the in-water warm-up, we're actually going to change it to, instead of hands down, we're going to go hands up. So really it's going to be like a 6-kick switch on their side. And I was watching Julia's group with the hands down, and they were struggling a little, right? And then I watched Coach Sarah's group, and they did it with the arms up. And the reason why we're doing this is so they learn how to rotate, right? Head straight, and the arm up, arm down really help them a lot more. They help them do it. Are you interested in mimicking?
Yeah, can you send us a video demonstrating acceleration drill?
I can.
I'll record for you if you want.
And it'll be bad ace.
That's the kid you kick out of practice for cussing.
And then, oh yeah, how did test sets go, right? Keep track of that. We did test sets last week, so I hope those went well. Monday's going to be 100 IM work. We have the 100 IM at the mini pre. If your kid can do all 4 strokes, put them in the 400 IM. You know we have time standards for the 50s for them to go a certain speed. On the 100 IM, it is just an accomplishment for them to do it. And guys, if you have somebody that does a legal 100 IM, this is a huge deal. It's so big, because if they're ready for that, that's how you know they're really starting to get ready to move up. Like, that's such a big deal that I wish we could give the kids more than a sticker. And if you can think of something more, certificate, whatever, like, that is so huge. A big list, 100 IM completers, boom, boom, boom. Like that, it's awesome. Do whatever you want to do with that, but it is a big deal to swim a legal 100 IM. Wednesday, Thursday, meet prep. Up to you guys what you want to do. That's all I got for you guys today. I love y'all. Thank you so much for everything you do. If you need help, please reach out to me.